Okay, so One Piece has a lot of pirate crews. The world of One Piece is filled with a lot of powerful crews, a lot of trash ones too, and they are not all equal. So today, we're gonna be going through and ranking some of the strongest crews in One Piece, and the way this list turns out might just surprise you. Honorable mention, we start this video off with a lie, because they're definitely not a pirate crew, but I want to shout out the Revolutionary Army. They're obviously not a pirate crew, but it's still an illegal organization with a bunch of strong fighters, so whatever. Drag is literally the most wanted man in the entire world. All we see him do in the story, stares to the east, abandon his friends, let him die. With a name like Dragon though, being Garp's kid, and of course a major late game player in charge of one of the larger organizations left in the story, he has to be one of the strongest players left in the game. This far from a one-man team, we saw during the Reverie, even though the admirals were holding back on account of the gods, the commanders were able to hold them off and complete their mission, which is saying a little something. We all know what Sabo's capable of because of Dressrosa, and he's even getting Emperor recognition himself. With that being said, if I were ranking them as a crew, I'd probably put them right between 5 and 6, and you'll see why when we get there. Next up, we got our first real crew, and I gotta go with the Redhair Pirates. I know I'm a Law fan too, but we all saw what happened against Blackbeard. I mean, he didn't even bring them to help back up against Dofi. He knew that they could not help him. It was too dangerous for them. Outside their captain, the Redhair Pirates have no real elite fighters. Him and his OP fruit are the only reason they even made it this high, honestly. You gotta respect Law for making it this far with his friends who are not special, but he needs some help. Their best bet at making the Laugh Tales form another alliance, maybe with Kid, that would be interesting. If not, I don't see how this crew can make any noise going into the final race. Next up, I gotta go with the Kid Pirates. Pretty much what I said about Law's crew applies to the Kid Pirates as well. Besides the fact that he actually has a first mate that can throw hands. Killer is probably not as strong as Zoro, but I would think he's at least in the same stratosphere going by Roof Piece. But now that I'm thinking about it, Kid and his crew have made it out of some pretty bad situations without having to form alliances like Law did up until Wano. Maybe I'm not giving them enough credit. Either way, I think this is the right spot for them. Next up, we got Cross Guild. So you can probably see so far that all the teams I've said don't really have any depth, and Cross Guild is honestly no different. Just like Kid's crew, this is a very top-heavy crew. Outside of Mihawk, who's likely Emperor level, and Crocodile, I'm not even sure how strong he's supposed to be anymore. There's really nobody else. I mean, of course you got Buggy. I honestly think Mihawk alone is able to put them this high, with Crocodile enough for cleanup. Without more fighters though, I can't really put them any higher than this. I know at the end of the story they'll somehow still be in the midst, and I expect them to get even stronger because Buggy always falls upward. But until then, this is a nice spot for them. And this is where I think y'all might turn on me, but next up, I'm going with the Straw Hat Pirates. Yes, the Monster Trio can and has beaten some of the crews above them on this list, but what separates them is the weaker crewmates. I'm not sure if they can win just because of shared numbers. Obviously, Luffy, Zoro, and Sanji can hold their own against any crew. Jinbei is also no slouch, but the weaker crewmates against the shared numbers of other crews ahead of them, I don't know. By the end of the story with some Straw Hat power-ups, I'm sure they'll definitely move up. This is definitely the one I could be convinced that I'm wrong. I'm not sure about this one. Let me know if I'm crazy or not. Once you see who I have above them though, I think you'll see where I'm coming from. If we were including the entire Straw Hat fleet, things will obviously be different. But Luffy doesn't even recognize them and can't really summon them on a whim like he can with his own crew. So for right now, I'd have a hard time putting them above other crews, but I could be convinced. So let me know in the comments what y'all think. Call me crazy, but for this list, I'm putting the Big Mom Pirates right above them. I know what y'all thinking. Luffy could beat Big Mom, Zoro could beat Katakuri, Sanji could beat whoever. I agree, I do agree. But you gotta think about the shared numbers. I still think the Straw Hats at this point are stronger at the top, but to me, the advantage is in the numbers. I still think the Straw Hats will win their individual matchups, but then there's still an army left for an entire crew to deal with. Before you come in the comments telling me that Big Mom and Kaido have already been knocked off, I know. And of course the Straw Hats blew right past whatever of either crew is left, if any, but they've been a major factor for most of the story, and it feels wrong to have a list without them. Like I said, the Big Mom crew is huge, and without similar numbers, or at least a bigger gap between top tiers, beating them, I don't see how it's possible. I'm interested to see how they look next time we see them with Katakuri presumably in charge, but out their beastly mother though, they'll never be the same. Speaking of beastly, of course, next up, we gotta have the Beast Pirates. Everything I said about the Big Mom Pirates applies here as well, except they came later in the story and are probably slightly stronger. Big disadvantage, they don't really get along that well or have chemistry, so in a team fight, they could definitely lose based on that, but I still believe they're straight up stronger. but the gap is small enough. I think you can't go wrong either way. We all watched Wano and saw how many alliances it took just to bring down Kaido's army, and it'd be a very tall order for one crew to do it alone. Kaido is still Kaido. He still needs somebody to worry about King, Queen, Jack. On top of that, the Toby Roppo and the army of Devil Fruit users, and yeah, it's clear to see why they're still up this high. Kaido said he was creating the strongest army of all time, and honestly, he might be right. I know you're thinking, how could this crew not be number one? Well, let me tell you who I have next. The Blackberry Pirates are another tough crew for me to rank. Trust me, I went back and forth on this one. I know what you're thinking. Didn't you just rank the Straw Hats lower because of their size? I know. But the difference is, they don't have Aokiji. Let's be for real. Aokiji is a game changer. Not only is he likely the strongest number 2 on this entire list, but as we saw in Marineford, his ice powers are perfect for wiping out entire armies. Imagine him going full force under Blackbeard's command with the rest of the crew. Aokiji is the S-Factor in his crew, a fighter who brings more to the table than most captains could. A combination of him and Blackbeard is enough to take down almost any captain while having enough energy left over. Now let's talk about Blackbeard himself. Pre-Devil Fruit Blackbeard was strong enough to leave a scar on Shank. That's not something just anyone could do. Now, with 2 of the most dangerous Devil Fruits in the series, the Yami Yami no Mi and the Gura Gura no Mi, he's literally built for destruction. The Yami Yami can nullify other Devil Fruit abilities, while the Gura Gura gives him the power to destroy the world. Adding his ambition to become the Pirate King, and his rep for doing whatever it takes, and you got a captain who's as smart as he is powerful. Then there's the rest of the crew. They aren't just random Devil Fruit users, they're hand-picked monsters, most of them broken off from Impel Down's level 6 with cherry-picked Devil Fruits. Shiryu alone is terrifying. He has a cursed blade while being invincible thanks to his fruit. Katarina Devon, the Crescent Moon Hunter, is a literal shapeshifter. Then you've got Vasco Shot, Pizarro, and San Juan Wolf, the largest giant in history, who makes Oars look like a kid. The sheer diversity of their abilities make them almost impossible to predict. They got brute strength, strategic, and they got destruction. They got everything. What makes them especially dangerous is how calculated Blackbeard is. He doesn't rely on force, he counterpicks his fights. Remember how he waited to ambush Blackbeard and snatch the Gura Gura on me? This is a crew that doesn't just play the game, they rewrite the rules. Sure, they may lack loyalty and unity of Straw Hats and maybe Shank's crew, but their raw power and craziness makes up for it. The crew was built for chaos. Unlike other Yonko crews that rely on their numbers or territories or family, the Blackberry Pirates thrive on chaos and dismantling their enemies piece by piece. When you got Aokiji up freezing entire battlefields and you got Blackbeard cracking the literal earth beneath your feet, size doesn't really matter. If anything, their small numbers kind of make them more efficient, more mobile, and deadlier. So I think number 2 is a great place for the Blackberry Pirates. At number 1, who else but the Redhair Pirates? Call it glazing if you want. I know they don't have many feats, but they're up here for a reason. Yeah, Shanks is the only member we've actually seen in action, but let's not forget the weight behind his presence. His rep alone shakes the One Piece world. One of Luffy's ultimate goals is to have a crew that surpasses Shanks, and that goal alone speaks volumes about the Redhair Pirates. They set the standard. By the end of the story, they'll probably be surpassed by Blackbeard's crew, Luffy's Straw Hats, or who knows, maybe even Buggy's Cross Guild. Or maybe not. It is Oda, but right now in 2024, they are unquestionably the crew to beat, period. Let's not forget what Commodore Brandu said. The Redhair Pirates are the most bondless and impregnable crew in the world. Unlike every other crew on this list, they have no glaring weakness. They're not dependent on a single powerhouse like some of the other crews, law, and a reputation commands respect. Just think about it. Shanks walked into Marineford alone was enough to stop an entire war. His crew doesn't even need to flex for everyone to understand their power. And that's not just hype, it's backed up by their actions. Even 13 years ago, they stole the Nika fruit from a heavily guarded marine ship, setting the entire story in One Piece in motion. We don't even know how they pulled that off, but it's clear that the Redhair Pirates have been making legendary moves long before we met Luffy. Let's not also forget that Shanks casually sailed into Kaido's territory to block him from reaching Marineford and still arrived in time to shut down the entire navy. If that's what Shanks could do alone, imagine him with the full crew. Every Yonko crew has its flaws. Kaido relied too heavily on raw strength. Big Mom was crazy, chaotic, and very unstable. And Blackbeard's crew feels more like a collection of loose cannons than a team. But the Redhair Pirates, we'll honestly have to wait and see. Until we see them challenges tested more deeply in the story, They're at the pinnacle of what it means to be a pirate crew. Sure, we'll eventually see more from Shanks' crew, and that could definitely change how we see them. But until then, right now, for me, they're comfortably sitting on the throne. To put it simply, the Redhair Pirates are the standard, and right now, everyone else has to catch up. So there you have it. That's my list of some of the strongest crews in One Piece right now. Not counting historical crews like Roger, Rocks, or a Prawn Whitebeard's crew, who, let's be real, honestly will top this list. I'm talking about the crews that we see in the story, or that we probably will see in the story soon, like Shanks. Other than that though, what do y'all think about this list though? Am I spitting, or is this list honestly just garbage? Let me know what y'all think in the comments, and as always, if you enjoyed this video, you want to see more from me, comment down below what you want to see, and of course, subscribe and give me a like. But until then, I'll see y'all in the next video. Peace.